Right, welcome back. It's Dewalt today. I'm going to give you some tips on these XR batteries. So we get a lot of comments about how do I fix them, they don't charge, all that sort of thing. So I got this one from Jonah Schoen down there on Whatnot again. Probably noticed that massive pattern. Everything I've got is from there. So I'm going to show you what to do and what not to do and what could happen. And I've got one example, just this one. So whatever's wrong with this is what I'm going to show you today. This is one that has no bars on it, so we'll see what's going on with it. So it is used. It looks like it came off some sort of pallet that he got. Who knows? But we'll open it up. We'll see what's going on inside, and we'll see if it's worth fixing.
Okay, here it is, back on the bench then for our retro view. So here's that battery, and it's a Dewalt XR, and it's a 5 amp battery. So, as you can see, it doesn't do anything there on that indicator. And what would you do with this? So normally you'd throw it in the bin, you'd do a jump start, that sort of thing. But what we're going to do is show you why that isn't always the right option. You just don't know what's going on inside these things. So you need a voltmeter. You need to do a few tests before you can do that. I wouldn't really recommend it unless you do this. There's a number of reasons why, and hopefully I'll be able to show you. I don't know yet what's going on with this, so I'm going to test it. First thing I always do is across the terminals here, positive and negative. If you do it the wrong way, it really doesn't matter. You just get a negative symbol on top there. So let's have a look then. So positive in this side, negative in this side, and we've got 14.4. So not the worst in the world, but that won't charge. You need about 17.2, something like that, for it actually to be recognised by the charger. So something is going on here. Now this doesn't give you enough information still to know whether you can do a jump start or not. I definitely still would not try it at this point. So you need to get it open, you need to look at the cells, you need to look at the board. So on here, there are 4 screws at the bottom, and we're going to take them out. These are just normal TX10s, they're not security bits or anything like that. So I'm going to use my trusty Wira, and as I say, it's a TX10 without the hole in the middle. It's not needed for these. So I'm going to do this in slow time just to show you the struggle, if you like, or the actual full-on journey to opening it up. Now this is nothing difficult, I'm just taking some screws out. So 4 screws, all the same size, and then putting them on my mat there. Just in that little rectangle so I don't lose them. Apart from that one. Right, so a couple more, and then we're there. Here we go. Nice and slow. You could obviously use something with a battery to get these out. I normally use my installation driver, that sort of thing. But here I'm just going manual, keeping it nice and slow and easy for everyone to do. So we'll get this final one out. Trying to do a little bit of myth busting with that jump start rubbish. So here we go. They're all there. All you're going to do here then is pull this apart is the goal. And that's sometimes easy, sometimes not. And here, it's just popping apart really simply, so not a problem there. So first thing you want to do is an inspection. It always is. Normally you have to clean these off if they're covered in dirt, something like that. Now I can see some darkening here, look, on my thumb. And this is why you don't do a jump start. The fuse is actually broken there on the board, so if you were to do that, it's really, really dangerous in this case. The circuit is broken and you're inserting all that voltage into it, and that is not a good idea. So here, look. It's cracked. Now, some people call this a fusible link, a fuse, whatever you want to call it. But whatever it is, it's the thing that actually makes the circuit, and it's broken. So we're going to have a look. We're going to inspect the cells. We're going to see if there's any damage to that cell. Just beneath it is normally where you do get some damage, but we'll see. If it's pierced or anything like that, we're going to have to replace it. Now, hopefully, we can just have a really good clean here of the top, put a new fuse on, and go from there. But that's not always the case. So what we'll do is just get a bit of space and we'll get this out. Now I use a flathead. A lot of the time with Dewalts I tend to put a little bit of tape on the end of it as well, because in this end where you go in you actually touch the top or the bottom of the cell, basically in between two. This side you're okay, it's basically all plastic. Now there's a couple of little indents if you like on either side here which are quite good to help you push it out, and that's generally where I put it. So you can see I'm just going side to side, pushing that up. And that will gently then come out. So what I do is I get it up a few mil and then I try and work on the front. And you can see the cell here. This is what I was talking about. You really end up touching that, there's not a lot you can do about it. So you can put a bit of tape on the end, or right in the middle here, really carefully putting it in there and just moving it up, just so you don't scratch that cell. And then at the edges it's plastic, so you can get away with it a little bit more there. Now rotating side to side just till you've got enough and you can pull it out then with your hands. There we go. Not too much left, but it's always best to be as slow as possible with batteries. If you're in a rush, just don't do it, basically. Come back another time. It's really not worth it. So here we go. Get this out in the end. You can see I'm, where possible, not touching the cell. And when you get to about this stage, you can generally wriggle the thing out. There we go. And looking at the cells, they don't look too bad actually. So the outside there's not much, but in here there's a little bit of darkening. That's what we just need to have a closer look at. And it's not too bad, look. So it hasn't even gone through the outside, which is perfect because that means we don't need to change that cell. So what we'll do is we'll give this a bit of a clean up in a second, but before that we just need to check the voltages. So if they're all okay, this is a really simple one. It's a new fuse and we can go. Now what I'm going to do, some people have asked me this before, where do you put the probe? It's just in here. I always touch the cell itself. You could get a reading obviously off that little bit of metal on top of it, but I always get a more stable response when I get right in there. Touch the cell itself. Now that's the negative end, and you basically just rotate as you go down. That's negative, that's positive. Almost like AA batteries, that sort of thing. A button top. Right, so what we're going to do then is go all the way down, starting here at the bottom, and see what we've got. So 3.7, and that's perfect really, that's perfectly fine. You could rotate these, but I'm not, and I'm just going to get a minus symbol, so not a problem. So 3.7 again, and that's balanced, which is good, so let's hope they're all like that. And yep, next one is as well. This is the problem child, and that is perfect, and that one. So the cells are all good, so that is really good news. But again, you can't jump this because it's not connected, so if you were trying that, it wouldn't work. So we still need to then fix this fuse, that's the problem here. So what I'll do is I'll give that a real good clean down. I'll get all of that burning, that scorching off there, and then we can pop a new link on. And there is luckily no actual damage to that cell. So this is the bit we're going to clean up, and we're going to do that because the new bit needs to attach really well to that metal. So we're going to make sure everything is clear so that we can solder it down. And everything else just looks perfectly fine. So whatever reason this happened, I'm just hoping it's not going to happen again, but it's one that we can monitor. It's one of ours, so we can do this and then come back to it maybe if we want to. Or the good thing with those fusible links are we're using a bit of nickel and that will just burn through, so the fuse will blow basically, so that's good. So grab the multi-tool here, rotary tool, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to just brush here. Now, if you're using something like this, you're perfectly safe as long as you're not touching the cells. Now, the bits that I'm going on is actually pretty well protected and above, so I'm not really in any danger of touching any cells. So I'm going to use this little wire brush. If you were doing this on the end of some cells or somewhere else, it's probably not the best choice. But here, I'm fairly confident I'm not actually going to touch any cells. So here we go. You can see it there, buff it up, getting all that darkening off it. Just like that. And then here, I'm going to lift this up a little bit and then give that a good clean. Just so that solder's got something it can actually stick to. There we go. So nothing too special. Just getting all of that off. And then we're good. Right. So next thing, we're going to have to connect this together. Now, the way I normally do it, as I've mentioned before, is a little nickel strip. And again, people have really confused why I'm doing this in some of these videos previously. The other option is throw this in the bin, and obviously that's just stupid. Why would you bother doing that? We're doing battery repair, that sort of thing, so we're going to try and fix it. So if I put a new fuse across here, that is basically replacing that old fuse, and I'm actually using one that's a little bit thinner than the old one, so it's more than likely to burn out before that other one did anyway. So perfectly safe doing this. As long as you're using a really small, thin bit of nickel, it will just burn through. So it is a safety device that I'm putting back in. So that will get it working, and hopefully it'll last a bit longer. And if you think about a repair cost for this, you're talking pence, 1 or 2p literally here. I do get a lot of questions on why would someone want to repair a battery. So what have I done here? I've cleaned the tab off. I'm putting a bit of this on with a bit of solder. Literally pence. So that's why. So here we go then. Trim this off a bit, make it fit. Here we go. If you're not wearing gloves, try and use something like these ESD little tongs, little tweezers. But all I'm doing here is just checking for size. Keep going till it's what you want. And that is about right. It's going to move all over the place until I solder it down, but that's where it's going. Just about there, and that fits pretty well. You could use a thinner bit. I've previously used thinner in terms of width, but slightly thicker in terms of the nickel itself across there. But this stuff is quite thin, so I think I favour this at the moment. So we'll grab the soldering iron, and it's just going to be 2 little blobs either side. Let that heat up a second, get this out of the way. And then we can put the solder paste on. And I normally use solder paste if you've seen my videos before for this sort of thing. Really simple to use. I think I got this from Amazon, but you can get it from all sorts of places. Any electronics stores, that sort of thing, that sell materials. There we go. So it is going to be a little bit annoying this until you start getting it down, at least one side on. Can't even grab it now. Here we go. So pop that there, and then we're going to put a dab of this solder paste on. Then the soldering iron will be hot enough, and we can crack on. Right, so get a nice view. Somebody once said they needed binoculars to see my videos, so hopefully you can see that. There we go. Try and put it at a little bit of an angle actually, so I can get a little bit more cover in it. There we go. Right, this is probably going to move now anyway, yep. So let's just get a blob on it basically. We can move it around and mess around once that bit's on. So give your soldering iron a good clean. Make sure it's nice and effective. There we go. So this should now be hot enough so we can try and get this side down now. And if you are doing this, just be really careful. If you use solder paste, it is good, but it does run as well. So if that got really hot and then dripped down into in and around that cell, that's not going to be good. Right, so here all I'm going to do is form a layer just on the top here. There is a bit that's already gone underneath. Then I'm going to do another little layer at the bottom to join the main side there to that top side. Sometimes you're lucky and it just kind of flows, but a lot of the time it's a couple of little layers like this. And it's so thin that it's just moving all over the place. So heat this up, and then that will join then down here. And just be careful, again, if you are doing this, there is a cell underneath. Here we go. That's going to go all over. Don't worry, I'm going to move this in a second. Right, grab the tweezers. This is going to be easier. So we'll heat it up, and then we can maneuver it really where we want it. That's pretty good there. And we just need to heat this up. Cover as much as we can. And then let go like that, like an idiot. Right, Try again. There, that's it. So we'll get that to join, leave it for a few seconds, let it cool down, and then it's on. So that should be it now. So we'll go for the other side, and then we can get to testing. So this will connect it then back to the terminal through that black wire. And then we can do some tests, check if the voltages is now getting through, which it should be. These are not complicated, so if this doesn't rejoin it, that means there's a physical break somewhere, and we should be able to spot that. So we'll heat this side up. There we go. Just like that. Tiny bit of fettling here, that's not bad. Right, so that is now solid and on. And as I say, if anything happens, that'll just burn through. So that's the new fuse. So what we'll do, what do you reckon? Is the light going to come on? There we go, look. So, fairly confident that's already fixed. So we've got 2 bars now. We had nothing at all before. Didn't need a jump start because it already had the power in the cells. So, you know, if you were doing that, you were wasting your time. So it was a problem with the fuse. So here then, let's have a look. What have we got now? 18.6 basically, so that is good. That's what we want. That won't take long on the charger, and that'll now be recognised as well. So that's good. So we'll get it back in the case. Get all these little bits back on. Don't forget things like the spring, and there's that little cover there for the indicator. Push this back in. A little bit stiff, but that's good. That means it's not moving around. So don't forget this, and get it the right way around. If you look at the button on there, it's going to sit like that. Just in there. There we go. Okay. And give it a check that it works. That means it's touching, which is good. And we've got the spring on. So we just need to get this now aligned with that. Push it down. Make sure it closes all the way around and screw it on. This is one of the easiest ones I think I've put together so far. Those cases normally don't align or something goes wrong. And I'll speed up the installation. Here we go. So that's all screwed down and we're still working. So that is good. That's what we want. Right, moment of truth. So we're on, and look, it's charging. So all good there.
Right, so there we go. All done. Fully charged. And that didn't take too long. And I didn't blow it up. So please don't listen to people that tell you to jumpstart every battery unless you know what's going on inside. That could have been really dangerous if you did that. You might have got away with it, but you probably would have made all of that burning a lot worse. Could have burnt your house down or your workshop, wherever you are. But there you go. That's how you do it.